Mercedes just did exactly what F1 feared. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Lewis Hamilton promises Mercedes will be a different animal next year as he makes bold prediction for 2024 season. Lewis Hamilton has promised Mercedes will be a different animal next year. The 7-time world champion has also made a bold prediction for 2024. Mercedes are facing a big off-season as they bid to challenge Red Bull's dominance in the new season. Red Bull won all but one of the 22 races in 2023 as Max Verstappen claimed a 3rd consecutive title ahead of teammate Sergio Perez. Hamilton finished behind the Red Bull duo in 3rd on the Drivers' Championship and is hopeful ahead of the upcoming F1 campaign. Speaking at the season-ending FIA Prize Gala in Baku earlier this month, he explained, "It's always the exciting time of the year because I have seen the car in the wind tunnel. I always go by the wind tunnel when I go to the factory and to see it evolving in whichever direction it ends up going. As soon as I was leaving, again, I popped in just to see where we were, and when I come back, it'll be again a different animal. But I have full faith in everyone that's working on it and hopeful that we'll be in a much more competitive position next year." Hamilton had been presented with an award at the ceremony in recognition of his 3rd-place finish this year. However, there was a mystery surrounding the trophy after the event. The Brit Drivers Award went missing, with a fan claiming he had been given it as a gift on social media. F1 preseason testing for the 2024 season starts in Bahrain on February 21. Meanwhile, the season itself will kick off with the Bahrain Grand Prix in Sakhir on March 2nd. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff has warned that rival Formula One teams will come to rue the Silver Arrow's slump over the past 2 seasons as he sets his sights on a course correction for 2024. The team's 8-year reign as constructors' champions came to an end in 2022 as the team pursued the flawed zero-pod design philosophy entering F1's ground effect era. While troubled, the team's 2022 Challenger W13 went on to dominate in Brazil as George Russell drove to victory in the sprint and claimed a maiden Grand Prix victory the following day. However, 2023 saw Mercedes endure a first winless campaign since 2011, while fierce rivals Red Bull stormed to victory in 21 of 22 Grand Prix. The German marque abandoned the zero-pod philosophy ahead of the Monaco Grand Prix in May, taking 2nd in the standings but only with a points tally less than half that of the dominant RB19. "We learned a lot," Wolff said in a postseason question and answer session. "The races and the seasons that are difficult are the ones where you learn the most. And we always say, the days we lose are the days our competitors are going to regret because we learn the most." I think there's so many lessons that we learned as an organization, as humans, but also technically that will be beneficial going forward. I wouldn't be able to pick one out, though, because there's so many things that we have looked at that will help us progress over the next year. It's a constant learning process, and next year, and in the years to come, there will be situations where we say, well, we didn't spot that. That was also true during the last 10 years where we won 8 championships. You just got to constantly learn and develop. That's a mindset we've always had. Mercedes did come close to victory at the United States Grand Prix in October when Lewis Hamilton finished just 2.2 seconds behind Max Verstappen. However, the 7-time champion was stripped of the result when his plank was found to be excessively worn after the race distance. Regardless of the outcome, Wolff picked out the race in Austin as Mercedes' best of the year, saying, "We brought an upgrade package that worked, the car was performing well, and we were hunting down the leader." You could say, well, you were disqualified for a car that was too low, but the genuine performance was there, and that was an enjoyable weekend. I've always said that I'd rather have a fast car that we haven't tuned in the right way. And obviously, you need to finish. But that was the best weekend overall, seeing that the correlation between the wind tunnel and the track was good. Wolff added that amongst the biggest challenges that Mercedes faces for 2024 is setting the expectations right ahead of the upcoming campaign. We have a huge mountain to climb. There's a team that is so successful, and we have a big gap to close. At the same time, I believe we've taken some proactive steps to close that gap. Is it going to be good enough? I don't know. But we're going to see it in testing and then in the first race in Bahrain. I'm super excited. I'd like to start going now. It's the stopwatch that's going to tell us what job we've done. The second story is Toto Wolff picks the race that shifted back into their winning ways for Mercedes. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff has chosen the United States Grand Prix as the best race for the outfit in 2023, despite Lewis Hamilton having been disqualified from second place. The seven-time world champion finished second on the road after a close finish with Max Verstappen in what appeared to be one of Mercedes' most competitive races of the year. It later emerged that both Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, who finished third, failed the post-race inspection process carried out by the FIA due to excessive skid block wear. Mercedes blamed the disqualification on a combination of the excessive bumps at the Circuit of the Americas and the nature of the weekend itself, owing to the sprint format, which gave them limited options to change car setup. When asked about his highlight for the 2023 season, Wolff chose this race even though they came away without a podium. This might sound strange because we got disqualified, but Austin, we brought an upgrade package that worked, the car was performing well, and we were hunting down the leader. You could say, well, you were disqualified for a car that was too low, but the genuine performance was there, and that was an enjoyable weekend. I've always said that I'd rather have a fast car that we haven't tuned in the right way. And obviously, you need to finish. But that was the best weekend overall, seeing that the correlation between the wind tunnel and the track was good. The W14 proved to be another difficult car for Mercedes, as they struggled to produce the results they anticipated after a strong finish to the 2022 season. The switch in car concepts midway through the year bought them some performance, but overall, they still lacked the pace to challenge for a win. Wolff believes this will be one of their key learnings heading into the 2024 season for the W15. During the year, we realized that our car was not operating in as stable a manner as we had predicted. That is perhaps because we didn't develop it in the necessary window, explained Wolff. It was clear that the interaction between chassis and tires didn't work perfectly. So, in that respect, this was the most important learning. Toto Wolff has shared his one reason to hope Mercedes will be able to reel in Red Bull as soon as next season. Neither Lewis Hamilton nor George Russell won a race in 2023, and the former has now gone more than 2 years without a victory since losing the 2021 title race to Max Verstappen. In contrast, the Dutchman and his team were almost entirely dominant this year, with Carlos Sainz being the only non-Red Bull racer to win a Grand Prix. So, huge was their lead, even by the summer break, the champions were able to switch focus to their 2024 car development much earlier than any of their rivals. That does not bode well for any other team's chances of closing the gap in the next 12 months. But Mercedes team principal Wolff still has a reason to believe it can be done. You have the laws of diminishing returns. Your development or performance curve flattens. That is clear, he told reporters. The more mature the regulations are, the more you can extract. Maybe our development curve is steeper because we are behind, but that is industrial theory. Whether you can apply it to the world of sports, I'm not quite sure. It's good engineering. Red Bull's engineering team has just done a good job. They came out of the blocks for whatever reason, much better than everybody else, and they have a driver who is on top of his game. Wolff's theory is that Red Bull are closer to the ceiling of what can be achieved in terms of car performance from the current set of design regulations. Mercedes, who made the wrong aerodynamic choices when the current rule set was first introduced, have more improvements to make in that regard. Thought the Austrian and his team have accepted that they were wrong and have returned to a more conventional approach. More experimentation seems to be on the cards. Wolff hinted as much as he spoke about the W15's development and suggested that his designers began their work on a clean slate. He said, "We are changing the concept. We are completely moving away from how we laid out the chassis, the weight distribution, the airflow. I mean, literally, there's almost every component that's being changed because only by doing that, I think we have a chance." But Wolff also warned, we could get it wrong also. So, between not gaining what we expect, catching up, and making a big step and competing in the front, everything is possible. The third story is Christian Horner delivers dramatic Toto Wolff quip over very surprising Mercedes decision. Christian Horner said Red Bull were very surprised when Mercedes attempted to stick with their zero-pod concept. The drama when that decision was quickly scrapped, not taking him by surprise though. The introduction of ground effect aerodynamics into Formula One as of 2022 caused Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari all to take very unique paths in the search for performance. However, it soon became clear that Red Bull's path was producing the rewards as they began to stack up the victories, following an early season challenge from Ferrari. Mercedes saw their run of consecutive constructors' titles come to a screeching halt at 8, winning just the one race in 2022 via George Russell in Brazil, though that success prompted Mercedes to continue with their zero-pod solution, a move they quickly regretted as team boss Toto Wolff confirmed its days were numbered at the F1 2023 season opener in Bahrain. The Monaco GP marked the start of Mercedes' transition away from their zero pods to something more comparable to the Red Bull concept, though it nonetheless proved to be a winless campaign, their first since 2011. Asked in an exclusive interview with motorsport.com